You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. This is me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with Let's Play episode of Sileo, Ty's Path. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, we're up, and let's go! See some PP today, yes. Dude, what the hell was that all about? Huh? Dom's grounded response sent me crashing back down to Earth, feeling a little silly in response to my actions. I was cringing far sooner than I'd anticipated. Guess I plucked up a little too much courage, huh? Sorry about that. No, it was funny. I liked it. It wasn't supposed to be funny. Oh, no, I don't mean... me. Pay them no mind, my dude. I thought it was totally, amazing. At least somebody appreciates my talents. Well, hurry up then. With your eyes open so the next person can start. What? Harsh words, but not really that inaccurate. I guess I'm just too sexy for my own good, huh? You guys couldn't look away, and that set a precedent. I guess I don't mind, but only if... Dom paused mid-sentence to theatrically pivot in place, leaning forward with his chin pinched between his thumb and forefinger. If somebody gave him a deerstalker, had a magnifying glass and a pipe, he'd easily have passed as an inspector. Everyone else gets the same treatment. Easy there, Penis Inspector Dom. This is already all kinds of weird. The last thing you should be doing is making it worse. Dom smirked, his ridiculous act clearly having achieved the intended effect. A few moments passed while my companions made their assessments before Russel finally chipped in, advancing proceedings to the next stage. You know, my dudes, I remember the time something like this kept happening at high school. What? Explain. Well, the changing rooms usually got locked during lunch breaks, right? But for the first 10 minutes or so, it was left open for the last, stragglers who hadn't finished changing after their class. I only found out when they grilled everyone over the intercom and started posting one of the relief teachers at the door before lunch even started. But apparently, some guys would hide. They were so quiet that the teacher locked them in for an hour. And they sort of, hosted their own anatomy lessons. What? Anatomy? Seriously, Ax, you didn't catch that little dude? What do you think they were doing? They said they were playing with each other. I thought they were playing tag or something. Hey, what are you suggesting? We're not playing with ourselves. No, but they were supposed to be getting changed, but it kind of went somewhere, different, kind of like us. Guys? I caught the group's attention, tired of being on display and wanting to restore some momentum to proceedings. Sorry, my dude, that's, on me. Well then, Ax, feeling confident enough to go next? Ha! It's okay, little dude. I'll go instead. Been kind of psyched to one-up Hunter over here with a little performance of my own. Guess we're gonna find out if he has too. Eh? Oh, brother. Here we go. Finally, it was Russel's time to shine. While Axel was still clothed, it was the question that Russel's nudity would answer that my bet with Diego was riding on. Of course, I was as sure I was right as Diego was, and the persistent bastard would finally have to accept my rent money. As my excitement and anticipation built, I experienced a brief moment of clarity as the consideration of just how weird and stupid this entire situation was virtually slapped me across the face. But, with an internalized shrug, I discarded that thought. I was far too invested in all this to care, and I was about to prove that Diego was wrong. This time... Let's see. Yep, he doesn't have anything. Yep, because they're in his, sheath. Or not really. It's not even a sheath. It's a slit. Ta-da! Wait a minute. Hey, that's not fair. You're barely naked at all. Am too. Can't, help my anatomy, my dude. It seemed as though Dom hadn't considered the possibility that Russel, being a shark, would have his arsenal tucked neatly away inside. And Dom hadn't been alone. Diego and I had clearly forgotten that obvious detail, and because Russel had no protruding extremities, that meant... Damn it! You sound disappointed, Hunter. No, it's not that, I promise. You, have a lovely, struggled to find the right word for it. On birds, that sort of thing was called a cloaca, right? And birds and lizards were kind of related in a weird way, so maybe it was the same for lizards, too? But then, what about sharks? Was it still called a cloaca, or was it called, mangina, right? What the... To try as I may, I simply could not conjure words sufficient to express the extent of my disgust. Russ, you promised to stop calling it that. He's done it before? Oh my god. Look at all your faces. I wish I brought my phone with me. I'd take like a picture of all of you. Priceless. Priceless. Russ! Oh my god, he's so adorable. Sorry, Ax, I know you hate it, little dude, but it's just too funny. How I wish there was a way I could just scorch that memory from my brain. Heh, well, my dudes, I obviously don't have, like, quite as much for show and tell as you all do. I mean, unless you want to get your hands dirty and go digging. Axel? Russ! I didn't think you'd want to. I had no idea you could be this crude. I was only joking, my dude. Hope you won't, like, judge me for it or anything. For a moment, this seemed like a missed opportunity. At least doing so would have revealed the quantity of members Russel was equipped with, but even by today's bizarre standards, that was simply too far. Well, that just leaves you, Ax. Just rip off the Band-Aid. Nope. That is not my alarm. That's my girl's alarm. One second, yo. Alright, sorry about that, y'all. Ugh. Sit back down. Ooh, okay. Alright. Well, that just leaves you, Ax. Just rip off the Band-Aid, my dude. Sooner it's done, the sooner we're all in the water. Axel closed his eyes and balled his fists, his expression twisting into a look of distinct defiance. Second, yeah? Okay. Okay, here goes. Get it? You gonna get it? I'm gonna get it. He's naked! Dom's eyes widened with every piece of clothing Axel shed. He started with his shirt, revealing a soft and creamy yellow belly to the waiting world. It was clearly something Dom had seen many times before, but something he had never gotten tired of. Then came his shoes, followed by his socks, which he then tucked into his shoes before placing them inside with his carefully folded shirt. Then came his pants. With every passing second, Dom's eager anticipation grew with intensity. Axel reached down and untied the bow of his waistband cord, then wrapping his fingers around the waistband proper and sliding them down. Yeah, he's gonna get an erection. Ah! There! What? Now that's cheating! No fair! Beneath his shorts, instead of the expected pair of underwear, Axel wore a pair of swimming shorts, his nervousness clearly having conquered his courage and bravery. Well, you know what they say, the more things change. What do you mean? Axel was that one kid who was the last to leave the changing sheds. He'd wait until everyone else was gone before getting changed. The swimming coach would be yelling through the door, telling him to hurry up and everything. He's always been that way, ever since he was little. It's like just the way it is for him, my dude. He's petrified of it. I see. You're gonna be wearing those things into the springs, Ax? But it's against the rules. What about the dress code? You can't, he really wants to see him naked, oh my god. Russel approached a clearly heartbroken and disappointed Dom and rested his hand upon his shoulder before shaking his head solemnly. It's okay, my dude. It's the only way he's gonna feel comfortable. I heard what you said. Is it some kind of phobia? And how is this the first I've heard of it? Not a phobia, it's more like a severe insecurity. We were friends for 8 months before he first felt comfortable enough to do it. But he can learn. You just need to be accommodating and supportive, my dude. But we've been friends for longer than that. I don't... But Hunter here is like new. And just because it took 8 months for me doesn't mean it'll be the same for you. Remember, we were in the swimming club together. He saw me naked 3 days a week, every week. Hold on. How do you even know that I'm interested in him like that? Because you make it so obvious, my dude. If Axel and I went official someday, we would never be able to connect in that way. Could I even be patient for however long it might take? And how exactly can I work with him to fix this? First off, don't think of it as something you can just, fix, my man. The only way he's gonna feel comfortable is if you, accommodate him, encourage him, have patience with him, and be open and available with him, and only move at his pace. He'll, let you know when he's ready, my dude. Such an idiot. Hey, don't kick yourself, my man. You know, Axel was petrified of coming here today. He knew he couldn't bring himself to conquer that fear, especially with someone new like Hunter here as well. Sorry, Hunter. Second, y'all. Water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's go ahead and jump back in, shall we? Hey, don't kick yourself, my man. You know, Axel is petrified of coming here today. He knew he couldn't bring himself to conquer that fear, especially with someone new like Hunter here as well. Sorry, Hunter. No problem. I understand. What'd you do to convince him? Remember what I said about moving at his pace, my dude? Simple answer is, like, I didn't. He was torn up about it and all. He really wanted to be here today, to spend time with Hunter, and to spend time with you, like, especially Dom. So, I might have suggested he wears whatever he feels comfortable in and that I'd smooth things over with you dudes on his, like, behalf. He was still shaking like a leaf at the thought, but he came along to spend time with his friends. So, what say we all, like, turn a blind eye to the rules, forget tradition, forget all that. We just do whatever we need to do so that Axel enjoys himself. Does that, like, sound like a plan, my dudes? I'm on board. Me too. Right on, my dudes. Russel beamed brightly at myself and Dom, petting each of us on the shoulder with his massive scaly hands before approaching Axel, who now stood just out of earshot. The two became engaged in conversation, while Dom and I quickly followed suit. I feel like a total ass. You didn't know, Dom. If he'd never told you about it, you couldn't have been expected to... That's not what I mean. Shit. Why did I even ask him here? To breach his privacy? To take advantage of the rules? He didn't want to come, and I put pressure on him. What the hell am I doing? That's such a low move. I kept justifying it to myself, making up excuses to somehow fool myself into thinking what I was trying to do wasn't super fucked up. Then it turns out he's so incredibly insecure about it. Hell, why did I even call you here? You tried to pass it off as being a part of this whole Spencer thing we're digging into. Was that actually anything to do with it at all? Originally, I'd planned to just come up here by myself, scope it out, strictly business. But I kind of wanted to check it out for myself, too. And maybe invite some people along. It snowballed. I got carried away. I figured it'd be weird if it was just us, and with you and Diego being a part of this whole Spencer thing, I thought about inviting you two would kind of make it less personal. I didn't know what I thought was going to happen. Maybe we'd both like what we saw, and maybe, just maybe, we could make something of that. So your plan was that you'd show him the weaponry and he'd respond with such enthusiasm that he would stop at nothing to coax you into bed with him? It sounds even more stupid when you say it like that. I was pretty stupid, though, you gotta admit. Shit like that only happens in pornos. I know. You don't need to tell me. Point is, I feel like such a piece of crap. I did this for all the wrong reasons. Axel deserves better than that. I misled him, and I misled you, too. I didn't expect to find anything up here, but it kinda sounds like you knew that. Yet you came anyway. Why? Well, in terms of Spencer, it was at least worth a look, and even if nothing came out of it. But seeing my friends was another reason. As of yesterday, that was basically the crux of it, but then last night, I broke up with Ty. Hold on, what? Last night? You never said anything. Sorry, when you called, Diego and I had been going over it for a bit already. He had multiple guys on the go. That's the gist of it. Multiple guys? I don't... And one of them was Spencer. Whoa, wait, really? Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon, YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!